All right, so I'm going to be testing out the Lok Light from my Shadow 2 carry optics with the new holster from Chip Ream at Renaissance Firearms.
Are you ready?
Cobra Ready. All right, so I'm going to be shooting the Shadow 2 with fiber optics, not the carry optics. The Lok Light without the brass strips, because I'm finding that drawing with the Lok Light and the brass strips is actually quite heavy. So I just want to shoot it with the 7 ounces up front without having the 9 ounces in the back. Lok Light, Shadow 2, Cobra!
Stand by.
All right, so after doing about 5 reps with the Lok Light, I do like the Lok Light without the brass grips, or the reverse, brass grips without the Lok Light. I don't like having the Lok Light and the brass grips because I think it just feels a little bit too heavy. All right, so another thing to consider with the Lok Light is that walking around with this all day versus just dry firing at home, I've actually noticed how heavy it is on my hip. So if you have the 7 ounce Lok Light plus the 9 ounce brass grips, you know, you're gonna be pushing almost 60 ounces altogether. If you're carrying around 60 ounces on your hip all day, it can be pretty tiresome, not just transitioning, you know, heavy weight wise back and forth, and then also all that weight coming off a draw. So you got to find the weight balance that's right for you. So like I said, I think I'm finding the Lok Light up front without the brass strips in the rear to be my weight balance, because it actually does prevent a little bit of muzzle flip. All right, so now I'm going to do another test with the Lok Light. I got one of my few polymer frame pistols, my Walther PPQ Q5 match. Putting the Lok Light on this, I want to see how the recoil impulse is on a polymer frame pistol, and I'm going to be comparing that with my Walther steel frame that does not have the Lok Light, because this is around 45 ounces as it is, actually probably a little bit more because of the Taylor Freelance brass magwell. But I want to see how the recoil impulse of a polymer frame pistol with brass up front compares to an all steel frame pistol that has the weight distributed a little more evenly. I'm actually going to use a Taylor Freelance brass base plate to add a little more weight on the bottom, so it actually gives it a little bit of balance. Let's kind of see how this feels. Double taps on steel. It actually does feels pretty good.
You're better with that one than
with the Lok Light. With the polymer frame.
You're dead center.
The Lok Light with the polymer frame and the brass on the bottom feels really, really good. Yeah, fire one more shot. That feels really good with the Lok Light. All right, so now let's do it with the Walther steel frame without the Lok Light to see how that feels. All right, so round 2 of the Walther PPQ, which is polymer with the Lok Light. I think I really like the way this feels with the Lok Light more than I did on the Shadow 2. It does have some muzzle flip. Let me go back to the Q5 steel frame, but I am feeling some muzzle flip. It does not want to fall.
No, it's ankle down, that's why.
All right, so thoughts after round 2 of the PPQ polymer pistol with the Lok Light versus the Walther steel frame. I think the Walther steel frame still shoots a little bit better because it is overall heavier and has a little better weight balance. But overall, I do really like the Lok Light on polymer guns. We're gonna test it on my friend's Glock 34 in just a second. All right, so we got my buddy Storm Shadow Dave with the Glock 34 and the Lok Light, since he shoots Glocks and I don't, and he can tell you what recoil impulses are like. Let's see what it looks like on target. Okay, so you normally shoot with the Streamlight TRL 1. So what do you think this
I
feels
like this better. This
you
feels
like
heavier.
it feels heavier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the front.
You know, if you already have a 45-ounce gun and you slap 7 ounces on the front, it gets really, really heavy. Whereas on a polymer frame gun like the PPQ or the Glock 34, it just feels a little better.